Remember what I told you, right?
Yeah.
What?
It's called man business.
It all started with 4 words. That's it, just 4 words. And suddenly, an entire feud that had been simmering beneath the surface erupted into something that nobody saw coming. 50 Cent, a man known for his fearless persona and sharp tongue, didn't respond like most people expected. There were no angry tweets, no fiery diss tracks, no public shouting matches. Instead, he responded with something far more dangerous. Indifference. The trigger, King Harris. He leaked documents online, documents that were meant to humiliate, expose, and shake the foundation of 50's empire. Almost immediately, the internet blew up. Fans, haters, and everyone in between couldn't stop talking. But before anyone could catch their breath, the story behind these documents began to unravel. And it was far messier than anyone anticipated. It all ties back to the fallout from the Verzuz battle that never happened. T.I., always bold, claimed that 50 backed out of a public face-off. On Nightcap with Shannon Sharpe, T.I. didn't hold back, accusing 50 of dodging the real smoke. The accusations were direct, personal, and impossible to ignore, but this wasn't just about a missed battle. This was a clash that went back decades. The rivalry between T.I. and 50 has roots stretching to the early 2000s, but this time, it wasn't just a matter of pride or street credibility. Respect, legacy, and family were suddenly at stake. 50 Cent's first move was subtle yet cutting. He didn't respond with anger or with the expected flurry of insults. Instead, he posted memes online, reviving old allegations about T.I. being a snitch and calling him a rat. For those outside hip-hop, that's more than an insult. It's career-shattering. In an instant, the feud moved from music to a battle of reputations, and everyone watching knew this was going to get much worse. It wasn't long before the battle escalated, crossing lines that nobody expected. 50 Cent posted a photo of Tiny Harris, mocking her and even referencing King Harris's vitiligo. In the unspoken rules of hip-hop feeds, involving family is considered the ultimate taboo. Yet, there it was, right in front of everyone, daring King to respond, and respond he did. King Harris went live on Instagram, defending his mother with a ferocity that caught everyone by surprise.
I'm not raised like that. I don't go. I'm not going about my mama. I'm not going. So tell your ass mama dig her ass up and post a picture that look better than my mama. Wrong with you? Y'all better tie y'all shoes. Y'all don't know who with. You better put that music up and shut the cause all that other shit ain't gonna get it. On my mother.
But the fight didn't stop there. He brought up 50's late mother, Sabrina Jackson, and even visited her grave, posting near the site. The internet exploded with opinions. Some argued that King had every right to defend his family, while others felt he had crossed a dangerous line. Suddenly, what started as a feud over respect and music had become something intensely personal and emotional. This was no longer about trolling. This was about psychological warfare. Every post, every comment, and every public appearance became ammunition. The stakes were higher than ever, and it wasn't just about who had the better lyrics anymore. It was about legacy, pride, and family honor. The entire world was watching, waiting to see who would make the next move and whether anyone could survive it unscathed. As tensions mounted, diss tracks started dropping like bombs. T.I. released a series of tracks, War, Bully, and Lessons. Each one was more direct than the last, attacking 50's credibility, questioning his persona, and challenging his business empire.
Cool, I'm the only one who's not offended by his brass approach, and he's not offended by mine. So, we play rough, but we ain't no issue. It's a mutual respect.
King Harris wasn't silent either. He released his own music targeting 50, and Damani Harris jumped into the fray, turning the conflict into a full-blown family war. Every line of every song carried venom. Every bar felt like a calculated strike, and the streets were buzzing. By February 25, 2026, the war had reached a new, terrifying level. King Harris, no longer content with diss tracks or social media taunts, dropped what could only be described as a bombshell. Alleged FBI files surfaced online claiming that 50 Cent had cooperated with authorities in an investigation involving a G-Unit affiliate. The caption King added was bold, almost taunting. He dared 50 to respond, implying that the long-feared snitch label might finally stick. For anyone in hip-hop, this is serious. Accusations of snitching are career-ending. Even if the papers were fake, the seed of doubt could spread faster than wildfire. And in a world where reputation is everything, one misstep could undo decades of work. Social media went insane. Clips of the files circulated, screenshots exploded, and hashtags started trending worldwide. Fans debated endlessly. Did 50 finally crack? Even mainstream outlets picked up the story, framing it as a monumental escalation in one of the most heated feuds of the decade. But here's the twist. Those documents had already been debunked years earlier. TMZ, among others, had confirmed they were false. King Harris was essentially trying to turn history against 50, using old accusations as modern ammunition. What was supposed to humiliate 50 instead created a bizarre tension in the public eye. People were split. Some thought King had finally cornered him. Others knew better but watched anyway, glued to every move. Then came 50 Cent's move, or rather, non-move. In a world where fans expected instant outrage, 50 did something that stunned everyone. He deleted every post connected to the feud. No memes, no insults, no responses. Instead, he followed up with a sarcastic message. "You guys hurt my feelings. I'm outta here." It was almost mocking in its simplicity. But that wasn't the end. He went one step further, posting an AI-edited clip from Atlanta with a calm, measured tone, delivering the line, "It's grown man business." That one sentence carried more weight than 100 diss tracks. By refusing to validate King, by refusing to engage on his level, 50 turned the narrative upside down. Suddenly, King's attacks seemed desperate, small, almost childish. He had expected a battle of equals, but instead, he faced indifference. A psychological tactic that crushed harder than any lyrical punch. The internet exploded. Comments poured in from fans trying to dissect the move. He just ended it with one sentence. 50 doesn't even need to rap to destroy someone. This is genius. 50's silence had created a vacuum, and in that space, King Harris looked small, exposed, and overextended. The man who leaked files to humiliate 50 suddenly seemed like the one on the defensive. It was not a fight of music anymore. It was a study in power, perception, and psychological warfare. Once 50's silence hit the internet, reactions came fast and from every corner. Celebrities weighed in immediately. Rick Ross publicly sided with 50 Cent, praising the strategy and calling the response cold and calculated. Charleston White didn't hold back either, criticizing both sides for letting things get so personal. Even Jim Jones tried to remain neutral, but he couldn't escape the wave of opinions. Everywhere you look, people were dissecting every Instagram post, every clip, every subtle move. The chaos didn't stop at celebrities. Fans flooded social media with theories, memes, and heated arguments. Some believed King Harris had pulled off a masterstroke by leaking the files. Others thought he had overreached, risking credibility for the sake of attention. Meanwhile, mainstream media and even law enforcement started noticing the frenzy. Rumors circulated that police departments had been contacted by fans worried about the heated feud. The fight had jumped from online trolling to something resembling real-world consequence. What became crystal clear was the bigger issue at play. The toxic no-snitch culture within hip-hop. Accusations, whether real or fake, had become weapons capable of ruining reputations overnight. King Harris thought he could damage 50 with old FBI documents, but in reality, the move highlighted the fragility of trust, perception, and image in this world. Fans, artists, and even industry insiders were forced to rethink what power really meant in these battles. Now, looking at the players who really won, King Harris certainly gained attention, going viral almost instantly. His bold move got him headlines, views, and social media traction, but at what cost? Credibility was on the line because the documents were false. And some fans were quick to call him out for exaggeration. T.I., on the other hand, showed loyalty to his family, dropping multiple diss tracks to back his people and defending his legacy. His moves were aggressive, but they carried a familiar rhythm, music, reputation, and pride. And then there was 50 Cent. He didn't release a single diss track. He didn't fight publicly. He didn't escalate. Instead, he reframed the war entirely. By staying calm, sarcastic, and strategic, he made everyone else react on his terms. One sentence, "It's grown man business," turned the tables. The emotional and psychological impact was staggering. He didn't just win the feud, he owned the narrative, demonstrating that sometimes the loudest, most brutal response is not in volume or anger, it's in control, coldness, and indifference. This feud, chaotic and viral as it became, left a lesson etched in the annals of hip-hop history. Reputation is fragile, family is sacred, and perception is everything. 50 Cent showed that the ultimate power move isn't always about aggression or confrontation. It's about restraint, calculation, and understanding how people value validation. He didn't destroy King Harris with bars or social media attacks. He destroyed him by refusing to treat him as an equal, flipping desperation into dominance. So now, the question is in your hands. Did King Harris truly expose 50 Cent? Or did 50 outmaneuver the entire Harris family, turning the feud into his own strategic showcase? Was leaking the documents genius, or was it reckless overreach? The debate continues, and the story doesn't feel finished. Because in the world of hip-hop, silence doesn't just speak, it shouts. And when wielded like a weapon, it can be louder than any war.